Typically, Google comes in fashion, and we are live. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday, March, what's today, 15th? Wow, 2016. This is the Perception Therapy Podcast. My guest today is Michael. Michael, go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, I'm from Maryland and probably moving to New York City here soon. So, yeah, that's me.
Right on, man. And actually, that was you sparked. You reached out to me last week, and it was like, holy shit, dude, I haven't spoken to you in a while. And it was like, oh yeah, I'm living in New York. It's like, oh shit, I got to get this guy on because that's an experience that shocks a lot of people, man. Just
Yeah.
visiting there terrifies people sometimes. And not that it's like, this big scary place, but just the overwhelming nature of New York itself. It can be threatening to some people. They get claustrophobic in the big crowd. And how you liking the transition so far? Or you're just visiting right now,
Well,
yeah?
I'm just visiting. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
And it's a transition. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do up here for now, because I don't have any job or anything here. So I'm working my different job avenues there, as well as living arrangements. So those are both tricky things. But I luckily have friends up here, so it's a beneficial thing. And so yeah, I'm not here yet, working on it, and I'm just hanging out here with some friends, and yeah, we're relaxing. I'm not really working that hard to find a spot. It's just visiting right now, and then hopefully that transition.
With the plans of hopefully moving.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, because I realize that some people, like you said, it's a huge task. Like I was talking to a
Yeah.
couple other friends and a couple other hangouts the other day. They were telling me, wow, that's there's a lot of risk there. And I said, yeah, absolutely. That risk is important because complacency is not going to allow you to diversify your life. And so I feel like going to New York will allow me to open up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of people that feel that way, like, oh man, this is a place where I can go and make something happen. And it's like, yeah. I used to, that's exactly how I used to look at it too, My cousin, who's a very successful break dancer there in Queens, or out of Queens, I should say, not in Queens, because he break dances all over the world. I'm hoping to have him on the podcast soon. But
Sweet.
he's from Queens, and man, he's made he's out of the hustle, out of the hustle of break dancing and making money through competitions to, teaching classes. He now teaches a youth class, I believe. I saw an update from him. He's made a life out of what he loves, dude, and that's fucking awesome. It's a very great place for for things like that to happen. But it is very tough, I mean, the rent there is no joke, man. I mean, unless you're
Yeah.
with someone
Oh, yeah.
who's very well connected, it can be really tough.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little lucky. I'm not 100% lucky, but I should say I'm probably luckier than some other people because I do have a couple friends here. So
Yeah.
they've definitely given me some advice here and there where they can and help me out when they can, within reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think for me, comfortability back at home, because I'm willing to admit I live at home for
Yeah.
now. You know, it doesn't motivate. It's not a motivator, especially if you're a young guy and you've done whatever. You might have done school, you might have not done school. You've owned a company, you've not owned a company. You've done your own work. You work for yourself or work for some job. And then you realize, well, why am I still here? Your parents care. Some parents are like that. They want to make sure you're good before you're out.
Right.
And that's definitely mine. But I feel like taking that jump,
Mm.
um, is like an important thing for me because I like being comfortable at home, and that's something that isn't really helping me. So
Right.
yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be, but that hard transition to New York, being a lot trickier as a city, is gonna be a motivator for me. It really is.
Right.
So, and I know it's gonna be tough. I'm probably gonna have worse moments, so it's
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
mean,
fine.
it's a fun city, dude. That's for sure.
I'm
My
embracing
first trip,
reality.
my first vacation there with my wife, before we got married, I took her to a place called fuck, it used to be called the Limelight. It was called the Church at one point. It was on fuck, it was downtown on 26th Street and Fifth Avenue or some shit like that. Anyway, we were outside waiting in line, as you have to do in the cold. It was November, if I remember correctly. But this dude on a bike got hit by a cab, and so here we are. We're standing outside the club. We see this happen like maybe, I don't know, 15 feet away. The cabbie hesitates not at all. Like there was zero hesitation in this cabbie. He hits that shit in reverse, looks behind him, and he was like waiting to make his exit. He was like, fuck that, I'm out. He just hit a guy on a bike. I can't be seen here. Like, oh, shit. I don't know who it was. Somebody jumped out in front of the cab and stopped him from leaving. Later on, the ambulance got there. It was, we were there for a while, dude. It was a minute, and the cops hadn't shown up yet by the time we'd gotten in. The ambulance had, but the cops hadn't. And it was just, she saw that. Then inside of the club, we didn't know that a couple of performances were going on that night from a couple hip hop artists that I really don't like, but they were there anyway. Lloyd Banks, and at the time it was a big deal. At that time in his career, he was a big deal.
Right.
So to see that, and then in the same night, a fight broke out in the club. Somebody got stabbed, and all that stuff happened underneath us. We were up on the balcony. And then we went to Washington Square Park either the day before or the day after, and she got pulled into a street performance.
Oh, I love those. But that's the thing. That's what's amazing. These spontaneous performances. They're great.
She had an amazing first adult visit to New York. You know what I mean? Like, dude, none of that shit had ever happened to me, and I lived there for large portions of my life. So it was like, yeah, no, man, that's fucking incredible, like how much better could this get? Fuck. But yeah, it's an interesting place, man, for sure. That's one of those places where you can just you can scrape by or you can fucking make it, and it all depends on you, dude. Have you looked into any piano positions out there? Like in bars and stuff like that, dude?
Well, yeah, man.
You're really talented.
Thank you. I'm a self-critic, as you know, and
I wish you were at home so you could play some piano next time you go back.
We'll figure it out, or I'll get something to play. I think one of my struggles has always been I've enjoyed playing. I like playing, but I always avoided being a center point. I like sharing with people, but I didn't want to be that center point of focus. You know what I'm saying? And sure. I think that was one of my main struggles, but I love music, and I'm not half as bad as some other people out there. So there's no reason I shouldn't be doing it. Plus, I write. So that was the main motivation. I've always loved it. I've always done it. I've taken it more seriously than other things. So, and I'm not old yet, which is insulting to some. I mean, I'm getting there, I guess, but.
You're getting to 30? All right. Don't worry. You're still good, man. You're still good.
I'm 24 right now, so
you got time, man. You got time.
I'll be all right. Yeah, that's what I can't think that way though, because then I'll slow down. But yeah, man. No, you're right. So yeah, I can play for you next time. But
sweet.
Yeah, the music scene in New York, like you said, crazy, and that's. I mean, there's other cities that have. People rival and say, oh, Austin or LA or
with the talented.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's great stuff all over the place. I think New York's more me,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like sort of an association thing. Like I identify with this place and I've had really good experiences. I've had some really good experiences here. Going back a little bit, to Google. What are we using right now? This lovely platform. And Google was one of the reasons I went to New York, because they had a meetup, or Google didn't have a meetup. There was an unofficial Hurl or hangout in real life.
Yeah.
And I went and I met plenty of people, and I built some relationships, and I still know some of those people to this day. And it's definitely been great, so yeah, so that's the first time I went to New York because of Google. So I can sort of go back and thank the social interactions I had on here for a little kickstart, a little motivation. That was my first time going to New York by myself. Took the
Right.
train, went up. So yeah. So it all pieces together, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. You know, it's a great place. Great place. No, no shit.
Yeah.
Um, Dude, you were talking just a second ago, and I don't know if you want to repeat yourself, but I was asking you if you were into the MMA scene, and you were telling me,
Well, what I will say is there are some MMA people that I appreciate, some that have fallen down a lot further than they should have, but they've learned their lessons.
and they're
I
about to make a climb.
I'm about to make
About
a
to
climb, and I think
climb.
we're talking about John Jones. There are people that are going to say horrible things about the man, but listen,
Dude,
he
feel how you will. Inside of the octagon, the dude is a
killer.
beast.
He's
He's
a
a
beast.
monster.
He's a beast. His brothers, I believe, are in the NFL currently.
You know what's
Uh,
funny? Everybody talks about his brothers. I've never seen them. I haven't watched the NFL since Mark Sanchez's second season, taking them to the Eastern Finals. And after that, it was kind of like, you know what, man, fuck this shit. I was like, fuck it, I'm done. And I haven't really looked back. So
See,
I haven't
people.
seen his brothers play, but everybody talks about how much of a beast his brothers are.
Yeah, I
The
think.
terrifying thing now is that, you know, like you said, he's about to make his comeback, dude. He's you know, for those people who don't know, John Jones has had some issues in his past. You know, he's had a DUI, if I'm not mistaken. He had a hit and run about a year and a half ago in New Mexico. Some woman injured her arm in the accident. Otherwise, she was fine. Everybody else was okay. But, you know, he's had some legal issues, man, and some social issues. And I don't think it's necessarily necessary to make him into this, you know, modern marvel of a figure that everyone needs to idolize. I think it's okay that he's a human being with problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And we should leave him alone. I mean, truthfully, you know, if I have to have my say, he should definitely be in jail over that hit and run. But I'm glad he's not because I'm an MMA fan. And, you know, I think it sucks that the law doesn't always play right. But I know from personal experience that, you know, it's the law doesn't always play nice even when you are one of the good guys, you know? So it's a two-way street there, man. It's not all it's cracked up to be, but this dude is a beast, man. He's been working out, you know, according to, you know, him, he's been clean and sober since his problems, and he's bigger than I've ever seen him, dude. He's been posting pictures on social media, and he's gigantic, man. He's just a beast of a man now. And the scary part is, like, dude, he was crushing people when he was not working out. Like you know, he had a substance problem, and you know, he's copped to that. He was saying that, you know, he was never really big into training, and he was always bigger into the partying. And it was like, fuck, now he's big into the training, and he was already a beast. Like, fuck, Daniel Cormier,
yeah.
you're about to get your ass handed to you, dude. It's about to be a
No, the
crazy
guy,
fight.
the guy. Listen. Okay, people are gonna come at somebody and say, "Oh, this guy's trash. This guy's trash." So look at what he did. Yeah, people mess up royally, and they should, reconsider their screw ups. But I don't think that should necessarily define somebody. Somebody's defined by everything they do, not one
Absolutely,
thing they do. So people
absolutely.
try to make that one thing much bigger than everything else, and everything
Yep,
else is part of it. I think it's unfortunate. I think it's bad, and I think punishment is necessary. But what happens in the legal system that goes through, and
yep.
as long as he learns his lesson. And I think one thing to point out that people may not be aware of is John Jones had a lot of pride. He was
Yeah,
really freaking proud. And
yeah,
he fell down the most when he was proud or when he thought he wouldn't. And I think if he reconsidered it, looked at his, the way he thought, which from my perspective, that's pride,
yeah,
like a
yeah.
lot of pride. I think he would be like, wow, yeah, I gotta calm down a little bit here, just have confidence and kick some ass, and the guy will do it, I'm sure. But yeah, to everybody dislikes him, I think he's proved in the octagon. And I'm not even an MMA,
Man.
like a professional. I'm not an MMA
No, no,
professional at all,
I'm nowhere near
right?
a professional. I'm like 75 steps below a novice. So, you know,
Yeah,
I'm just a fan, dude. I've taken some jiu-jitsu classes. That doesn't qualify me to know shit. But I've been a
yeah,
fan of the sport long enough to notice patterns. And, yo, the dude is fucking beastly. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
he's just an animal. And
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. And when's it? Do we know when his first match is on UFC?
I dare say it's April. Let me look this up because I don't want to lie about it. There's some
Okay.
people that are interested,
Pending.
and yeah,
We're looking it up. But
it's one of those things that's April 23rd in Vegas, UFC 197. Yo, this fight is going to be big, man.
UFC 197.
Did you see 196 with Connor and
I did not,
Nate?
but I heard.
Oh man.
Yep, I heard some
Great
crazy.
fight.
Yeah, I heard some crazy stuff. They thought. Who won? Who won again?
Diaz choked him out
Okay,
in the
right.
second round.
See, I heard they thought McGregor was going to kick. Complete.
Yeah, no. Hey, man,
Yeah.
I told my wife in the beginning of the fight. I said if McGregor doesn't knock him out in the first round, this is going to be an amazing fight. And it's cool. I mean, my wife is I can't say enough good things about her, man. She entertains all my fucking hobbies. And
that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So
especially
when
it's a genuine attend to like your hobby.
No,
it's like,
it absolutely is. You know, she's not one of those phonies. You know, she actually watches the fight, and it's
that's cool.
She was like, well, you know, why did you order it? I was like, no. She was like, order it. I'm like, you sure? And she was like, yeah, order that shit. I'm like, all right, cool.
Hell yeah, man.
So I ordered the fight. I was like, fuck it. I ordered the fight, and we saw it here at home, and it was fucking awesome, dude. I mean, I'm living in Puerto Rico now. There's a lot of places that they're not into MMA, so it's not like I can just go to Buffalo Wild Wings like we used to in Miami and go watch the fight. So that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks, but at the same time, you know, like my wife said, you know, we used to spend like $100 on the bar tab anyway. So
yeah,
throwing down $50 for a pay-per-view is no big deal. You know, we ate at home. We just chilled out at home all day. Like it was all good, man. We had a nice night. Actually, no, we spent the evening in our bed. Anyway, good fight, man. Really good fight. It was one of those epic moments that, you know, MMA is unpredictable, man, and it's why I'm so into it. You know, it's fucking anything can happen.
So
you
did he get knocked out right in the beginning, or what happened?
No. The first round was Connor's, man. At the end of the first round, I told my wife, I said, man, this is going to be an interesting 5 rounds, because I knew Nate wasn't going to get knocked out. It wasn't. That's not his MO, man. He's never been knocked out before. Actually, I think he got knocked out by a head kick. But I mean, dude, a head kick.
What are you going to do?
90% of the world is going to go to sleep on a head kick. So, exactly. What can you do? But it was like, dude, and that was the thing about Connor. It was like, shit, man, this guy's like a fucking ninja. You know what I mean? Like he's throwing kicks that are fucking insane, spinning kicks, all kinds of shit, and accurate and fast as fuck. You get caught with any one of those, you're going night-night, dude. Night-night. So it was like, you know, it could happen, man. Nate could get knocked out. You know what I mean? And that's what I told my wife. I said, that's what makes it so interesting. In the first round, if Connor has his way with him and he does all the ninja shit he's capable of, he can knock him and put him to sleep.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I think he'll be okay though. I think Conor McGregor. I think he'll get back.
He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine.
He's gonna be shitty press, and then he'll be all right.
And you know what's great? He's handling the shitty press the best, man. And you know, that was another comment I made to my wife that night. As his post-fight interview was, he was humble as fuck. Gave Nate all the credit he deserved. He said, you know, I'll take this loss like a man and I'll learn from it and move forward. Dude, he said everything you need to say to be correct in the PR media. And as long as that shit in his head and he goes back to training hard like a beast, he'll be back like a motherfucker, dude. You know, it's a setback, dude. It's a stepping stone. And
he'll be all right.
He'll be fine.
And on the line of people that do stuff that don't start out as that being their profession. This guy, per what I read, correct me if I'm wrong, was a plumber.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a plumber. So he was doing, you know, we all do these things. We do our jobs. We do what we can till we get where we want to go to pay the bills. So it's like, it's a little inspirational. Oh, he was doing that, and he got to where he wanted to go. So with enough determination.
Absolute inspiration.
Yeah.
He absolutely should be too, because I mean, like you said, man, he's the original Cinderella story for guys. You know what I mean? I came from shit, and here I am.
Cinderella story for guys.
He's the fucking Rocky of Ireland. You know what I mean? I was a bum plumber on food stamps in Ireland, and I'm at the top of the UFC making stacks of millions.
Yeah.
In a matter of, like, I think it was 4 or 5 years that he broke into the UFC. Like, dude, he's got undeniable talent, man. He works hard in his craft. You know, I mean, when you put those two things together, not a lot of things are going to come in the way. But you know, I guess a choke would definitely stop you at one point. That was a big thing that they criticized him for. You know, it was like, oh, his jiu-jitsu is terrible, his wrestling is terrible. We saw in the Chad Mendes fight that once he gets taken down to the ground, he doesn't make a big effort to get up. And you know, Chad Mendes is a wrestler. He's not a black belt jiu-jitsu artist like Nate Diaz. So it's like, you know, you get to the ground with Nate Diaz, you better have a fucking exit strategy. And Nate Diaz showed exactly why, man. He'll put you to sleep. I mean, Conor wasn't on the ground more than a minute before he choked him out. It was fucking incredible. Incredible. And then, you know, everybody's like, oh, you know, Conor's jiu-jitsu
cheap move, or not whatever, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, everybody's giving Nate all the credit in the world because he rocked the shit out of him. And that was another big point, was that in the first round, they had a sweeping motion, which is, for those of you who are MMA initiated, it's basically when you are on your back, the person is on top of you, and you reverse the position so that they end up on their back and you end up on top. Conor pulled an extremely elite move, and I don't know this because I study. I know this because I've watched videos on other people who are masters, and they talked about how serious this move was that he got out of. You know, his jiu-jitsu is high level. The issue came out when he was rocked, man. He got a 1-2 combo that staggered him, and from there he turned into a wrestler. You know, he tried to tackle Nate, and Nate jiu-jitsu'd his ass into a sleeper hold. Put him straight to, you know, well, he actually didn't go to sleep. He tapped, which he got a lot of shit for because Holly Holm in the previous fight didn't tap. She got put to sleep to lose her title, and she went out like a champ, and I can't wait to see her next fight.
Yeah, well, I want to actually do a little segue. Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey. Yeah?
Damn. Yeah. That was an awesome fight.
You know, and I want to point out the same pride thing. You know, I'm not going to really call out fighters here, but I saw Ronda.
Yeah, who are we to judge? We're just fans.
Well, exactly. What do we have to say other than what the social media says? And she was extremely proud on that social media, talking tons of shit. And then I saw it was still up the next day, and Ronda was completely, or the press was saying, God knows, I didn't watch the fight, but I knew the outcome, and I saw the pictures. It sounded like Ronda.
The memes on the internet were the most epic ever, and I think the only ones that top them are the current ones that are for Nate Diaz, since he beat Conor. Those were the best memes I've ever seen, dude. Oh my God.
I think she deserved. I know it's a fight. I know it's professional. Yeah. This is their job. Yeah. But I think she absolutely deserved to be placed in her damn spot for acting arrogant as hell.
I mean, you know, arrogance is a negative quality, obviously, man.
It's an understatement. I think she was talking some shit, and then came to the octagon, nothing to back that up. So
the other half of that is how much. Okay, so there's so much hype that goes into prepping a fight, right? There's only one way to make 10 million people pay to go see this fight, and that's giving them what the majority of them want, which is the drama of it, right?
Yeah.
Some people just want to see the fight. And don't get me wrong, as much as I am one of those people, I still do enjoy the whole build up to it. I love the weigh-ins. The weigh-ins I love the most because it's that for some people it gives you the taste of what's about to come. For example, I think the best example was Ronda Holly. You know, that weigh-in, you know, Ronda got off the scale and charged Holly, and then, you know, they went into their dramatic moment there. Holly was cool as a cucumber, man. She was like, what's going on? I don't even know. I was drinking my water, and now we're here. She was ready to fight no matter what was going on, you know? So it was that calmness, and some guy on the internet, and if I can give him credit, I'll post his link in the description of this video. But this guy called it the day of the weigh-in. He said, did Conor McGregor just have a Ronda Rousey moment? Because Conor, if you didn't see the weigh-in for him and Nate does his awkward, you know, Muay Thai stance where he puts his very long arm right in your chin. So he put it, you know, and it's actually a really good view of probably what Conor was looking at. It was just knuckles and skin. And Conor reacted by punching Nate's arm. So it was like, whoa, you know, like that was the first time you've ever seen Conor get like really rattled at the weigh-in. And this guy was like, dude, I'm calling it right now. I think Nate Diaz is going to win this fight. And shit, I mean, it was only a 50-50 chance, but he won it. You know what I mean? I mean, I think he did bet. He bet somebody, and I think he won. And dude, I was telling my wife, I'm not a betting man. I'm not a betting man by any means.
Right.
But I was like, dude, if I was going to bet on any fight,
yeah,
it wouldn't have been this one. I would have bet on the Jose Aldo fight, which happened back in December, where he got put to sleep in 13 seconds by Conor McGregor. That's where I would have put money, and I would have lost huge.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm glad I don't follow my instincts, but on this one, it's kind of like, fuck.
But if you look at these fights, you see these people. Right. They come up with these big wins, right? And then, boom, you know, they go to their next fight like, I'm gonna kick ass and chew bubblegum. What's good? Coming and boom, they go out just like that.
They believe their own hype.
Yeah, you know, I know, right?
They forget the reason of the hype is simply to sell the fight.
Yeah,
they have to do all the preparation work to get in there and kick some ass. You know what I mean? It's not, and it was hilarious because during the Holly Holmes Ronda Rousey fight, Michael Buffer, who's, granted, he's color commentary for UFC, so he's not the technical commentary, which is Joe Rogan's position there. They had a hilarious interaction on air, which was Mike Goldberg said, you know, it's tough being a rock star in there. And Joe Rogan goes, dude, it's got nothing to do with being a rock star, man. They're getting their heads kicked in. And it's like, yeah, dude, you know, I mean, he's color commentary, so he's got to say whatever's creative and, you know, keep the non-fans' attention. But, you know, that's the unfortunate business aspect of MMA, you know, the money part behind it. Even though that's how we get it as fans, you know,
it's all entertaining. That's what it's about.
Somebody's liking it. I like the fights. I like the weigh-ins, and I love the memes and the gifts that they make afterwards, man. That shit's hilarious.
And at least it isn't whatever that other thing that they claim wrestling is. I don't know. What is it? I don't know.
The theatrical performances. Yeah. That's funny you mentioned that because I was I saw a picture the other day on the internet of a wrestler. I didn't even know him because I haven't watched WWE since
WWE. That was what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it as WWF, and that was the last time I was a fan. But he had this picture, and it was like, yeah, they say we're not athletes. Hey, they're athletes for sure, but what they're doing is strictly entertainment. You know what I mean? Like the UFC, these fuckers are coming to fight, and unquestionably, there have been some fixed fights in the UFC. No question about it. There have been just terrible performances in the octagon that were not worthy of the fans' respect. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that really makes you want to turn off and forever. But then they come up with the next mega fight and they get your attention. So, you know, kudos to them for keeping us on the train. But it's wow, I lost my train of thought on that one.
Yeah, you lost your train.
I mean, you know, sometimes
went away.
It has been fake, but I think that was my point, is that sometimes it has been fake in the sense that they fix a fight. But out of all the fights that have ever happened, I'd say maybe, you know, 5 or 10 of them have looked suspect. You know what I mean? Otherwise, people are getting brutalized in there, and they're getting dominated, or they get their nights locked, their lights shut out. You know what I mean? This shit happens. You get put to sleep. It is no joke.
Yeah.
You know, it happened to Jose Aldo in December, man. He got night. Holly Holm went night the other night, and so did Conor McGregor, like I said, didn't, but he, you know,
you win some, you lose some.
Where anything can happen.
You win some, you lose some.
I guess.
And hopefully you lose less if you're or not.
You know what it is? You have to be able to learn from those losses.
Yep.
You know, and that was something I learned. I mean, not only as an athlete growing up, but it was something I was definitely able to teach really well when I was a coach, because it was like, you know, I've been there before. You know, I was that young kid who throw tantrums and fucking break my stick when we lost a hockey game, or, you know, I would get pissed off and hurt the tendons in my hand because I was punching walls and stuff like that. That was me. So I knew very well the frustration that comes with a loss. You know, I'm used to. I've mastered that now in my 30s. I really mastered it in my 20s, but I really mastered it now. You know, you can't do shit about it. You know what I mean? Once it happens, you're in competition. A competition can only go two ways, typically, right? You're going to win or you're going to lose. So you put in the preparation, you put in the work, and you do what you have to do in the moment, right? You can't ever go into anything with an outcome already preset. And then, you know, there's a lot of speculation on that. Oh, no, you have to visualize it and this and that. And yeah, that's true too, you know what I mean? And the way I teach visualization is not the way you hear it taught, right? So you hear, okay, so Conor McGregor speak about visualization. And he says, oh, well, I'm going to go in there. Jose is going to overcommit. I'm going to duck. I'm going to slide away, and then I'm going to put him to sleep. And true to form, in 13 seconds, he did just that. He overcommitted. He lunged. And in his own lunge, he got knocked out from the speed of his own force. And that shit's
Right.
true to form. You know what I mean? Like, some people can see it. Some people can see it frame by frame, and the greats have all said it. Michael Jordan has said it. Wayne Gretzky has said it. Any great athlete in any sport you can name has always said, you know, oh, yeah, well, you know, I visualize it and I see it before it happens. The way I teach that is not frame by frame. It's get your mind used to this scenario so that when you see the scenario, you just react. You just
Right.
know what to do. It's not, okay, we're going to go in there, we're going to do our pregame cheer, the whistle's going to blow, the ball's going to go up, and then we're all going to do this, we're going to go to the left, we're going to go to the right. No, just put those scenarios in your mind at all times. You know what I mean? There's going to be somebody coming from this side, go this way. You know, and then that way when it happens during the game, it's not the chess, it's not the, you know, the visualization of, oh, this same person came at me last time, and this is what I did. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about is no matter who that shadow figure is, because no matter who your opponent is, the preparation is yours to make, right?
Right.
You're only ever really against yourself. You know, either you prepared for that moment to face somebody else's preparation or you didn't. And that's where that really comes into play. And that's the way I would teach my visualization to my players, you know, whether they be the young guys that I was coaching when I was an assistant coach or the young ladies that I was the head coach of. It was always the same thing. It was, okay, so this is how we do our drills, right? We would do drills, and the way we did drills when I was in high school was simple, you know, this is the cone, this is where the pile of balls are, this is where you have to run to, this is what you have to do. And so it becomes very mechanic, you know, boom, 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 boom. But then there's no repercussion, there's no thought process behind what you're doing.
Right.
So you just kind of go into it, and maybe that was just my immaturity, you know, at 15, 16, you know, maybe I just didn't know any better at that time. But what I tried to make sure I implemented to the girls and the boys that I was coaching who were 15 and 16, like I was, okay, listen, there's a reason we're doing this drill. When you're doing this drill, this is what I want you to picture, right? This is what's happening. This just happened, and this is how you have to react to this scenario. So
Right,
you
you're
do
teaching.
this drill with that mentality, and you get more fluid into your motions. You know,
And I think what
treating,
people are watching should understand here that is the most important part is this is a life goal, life execution plan. This is not even just sports. This is tying everything into life. Because when you do this, you learn how to handle problems. You learn to deal with failure by losses, and you learn to execute. You also learn that as a musician, when I try too hard, what do? I fail. I fail miserably because I try. You focus
yeah,
too much. You overfocus. You overcompensate. You put too much energy somewhere, and that energy just burns out. Like too much voltage on a light bulb that's only rated for a certain amount of voltage. It's just gonna
that's an
burn it
excellent
out.
way to look at it.
Yeah. So like I think what you're saying, even though you're tying it mainly into the competitive sport area, it can even be thrown into music or life as well. Especially one thing I got stuck on is when you were talking about the failures aspect, and how you overcome or go through that, especially as a team or in sports or even in life. I can't tell you how many people I've seen who haven't failed enough, because they
Yeah.
can't handle the failure.
Mm-hmm.
Failure destroys them. And for me, one of the things I was afraid of is failure. But I'm trying to put myself, I think for anybody, sports, teamwork, anything that will allow you to fail or be less comfortable, and somebody who's motivated me a little bit, talking about failure, which I'll touch on in a moment. But
Hmm.
anything that'll prepare you for that is going to be a good preparation for even life. So sports, leading music, anything else to life, because then you can take everything a lot more, a lot easier. It's not going to destroy you when you fail. You're going to understand it. You're going to pick yourself up. So yeah, so that's my 2 cents. But I figured I'd throw that out
Yeah, I
there.
mean that's all depends, and it all depends on how you're taught that. You know what I mean? Because
That's true.
I guess as a kid, in my environment, it was always you have to be the best one. You always have to win. You always have to do this, and it was like okay, and that's where I thought of it from. But in the long run, what they're teaching you is not to quit, right? And as long as you learn that in the loss, and you learn what your mistake was, and something I love that Holly Holm said at the end of her fight was, if you're not truthful with yourself, you make no improvement in your loss.
Right. You don't
If you
embrace
can't
reality.
self-evaluate, yeah, if you can't self-evaluate and say these are the things that I did wrong and these are the things I need to work on, you never get to that next level. If you say, "Oh, well, it just wasn't my night," what can you do?
Right.
That's not how it works. There's something that you could have very well done to have prevented that from happening.
And the way I look at it is you have energy. We're given an amount of energy in a daily period. And how you use that energy is your decision. So if I'm given energy and I decide to use that energy to be in denial about reality and say, oh, I failed, but it was just the wind. And, or it was, like there was, a drink fell off the roof, hit me in the head and made my night shitty. And that's why I failed. Like you're not going to be embracing reality. What did I really do to fail? You know?
Right.
Yeah, you're always going to be you're going to be finding something else. Cover it up. But
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean,
yeah, you got
that's one of the things that.
that's
So
true.
my current project right now is I'm working with two guys out of upstate New York.
Oh,
They're in an effort to start Puerto Rico lacrosse, the Federal International League Association here.
nice.
Um, my goal when I came here, and I said this to my wife, was that my goal is simply to bring lacrosse to Puerto Rico, mainstream. Maybe not even mainstream, but definitely just build lacrosse to the point where you can see it played anywhere. Um, I've had a couple smirks at that, and that's fine with me. Your opinion means very little to me. You know what I mean? It's about my drive, so it's all good. You know what I mean? But one of the things that I had spoken about with these two guys that I'm partnering with now was, they had looked before, just like I did. They had done their internet searching and Google searching of Puerto Rico lacrosse, and they found, just like I did, it's been tried here before. It's been tried here before. People have tried to start NCAA teams here. People have tried to start leagues here. Um, it's one of those things where you can't let somebody else's failures knock you down, right? There's somebody had to fail, and then someone else will figure out how to succeed.
And I got a great example of that. Stupid example, but in the weird fact, in the 1800s, there was a subway system in the UK that ran on completely compressed air. It ran on air. That's all it ran on. Giant engines powered these fans, which blew air through these tubes and pushed these cars that I don't know if they levitated. I don't know how they were suspended. Maybe they're on tracks. And
Mm-hmm.
this line ran in the UK, I believe late 1800s, early 1900s, somewhere in that vicinity. It ran for about a year and then shut down, but it was too early. It was way too early. And now Elon Musk, who has Tesla and SpaceX, is starting something where you can take this hyperloop. So that example, like some people come too early into the game, or they do it
Right.
wrong, or they manage incorrect, and it doesn't mean your idea will fail. It just means maybe they
Mm-hmm.
were too early, they were ahead of their time, people weren't ready to embrace the technology or the idea. The way they went about it was maybe wrong. So yeah, I like what you're doing, and I don't see why it can't succeed. You just execution has to be on par, and you have to try things, and failure might happen, but that's the chance you take in trying something new, getting
That's it,
something
man.
started.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like I told the guys that I'm working with. It's one of those things that if you see it played, you automatically you're intrigued. You're like, oh shit, what's that over there? And so everywhere we go, and the cool thing is this is how I got started coaching. Also, my wife, being the wife she is, um, entertained my passion for lacrosse, and she bought a stick for herself. And we were at the park one day playing, and I met the head coach of a high school, and he was like, "Listen, I need an assistant coach. Do you want to come out?" And it was like, "Fuck yeah!" And so that's what started it all. And the only reason he saw me was because I was out there playing with my wife.
Yes.
I think we were
You
out
went
there
out that day.
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
You made a small choice to just leave and go out into the fresh, sunny weather, or I don't know, whatever. And
yeah, that's exactly what happened, dude. That's exactly what happened. And it was all,
take a
my
break,
wife just
hop
being,
out, go with
my
the
wife being
wife.
awesome. And,
Oh yeah.
Truthfully, it's funny because I'm somewhat, and I still am to a degree. I love just relaxing. You know what I mean? There's nothing better to me than just kick back and just chill out.
Yeah.
And coming from years of busting my ass at work, it was always nice to get off and just relax. So you'd hit your 8-hour day or your 10-hour day, whatever it was, and you'd go home and relax. Now I don't have that problem. You know what I mean? Now my wife has that problem because she's still working, but I don't have that problem. So now my relaxing time is whenever the fuck I please, really. And then so all the other times is, for whatever she wants to do. So just like that day was like, what do you want to do today? Let's go to the park. Boom, lacrosse. And, 9 years later, here I am still trying to look for more people to coach. So every time we go to the beach, we take our sticks, we start throwing around, and you get questions, man. A guy asked me at the other day at the beach, some old man, he was like, "Hey, is that for fishing?" I was like, "No, it's a sport." He was like, "All right, cool." And then later on, I'm playing with my wife, and I see him behind the trees, like looking at us, and he was kind of like, "Oh shit, all right, cool." And that's the reaction you get, Everybody's like, "Oh, what's that?" All right. And then when they see the sport played, they're like, "Oh shit, that's crazy!" Especially when they're seeing men's played, and there's hitting, there's speed involved. They're running 40 miles an hour, or not 40 miles an hour, but they're running fast as shit, 40 yards, and they're slinging shots that are 90
they can
miles
move really
an hour.
Fast. They have like spider legs.
They're like octopi, Yeah. But yeah, dude. So we're just trying to get that started here. Our website just launched yesterday. Shameless plug, PuertoRicoLax.com. For anybody who wants to check that out, I have the logo in my little title bar here. That's the new logo that they just started, which is the lacrosse head and the Puerto Rico flag involved. And I thought that was awesome.
That's nice, man.
So,
simple.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man.
It doesn't look bad. It looks like it's doable, and we'll see, I guess, right?
So
Determination. Don't give up.
We have a clinic coming up in April. My partners are flying out April 15th, that weekend, and I've already got some questions being asked here on the island, like where's this going to be, when can we go, and we're putting out the events, man. We need more people to show up, so it's one of those things that you go building momentum, man, and when you stop the momentum, you can't get discouraged by that. You got to understand that all of life, just like everything else, is ups and downs, So at some point, yes, your momentum is going to stop. You're going to come back down, and then you're going to go down underneath where you haven't been before, and then you're going to rise again, man. And that's just the way it goes.
And I think on a closing note, because I think we're getting close to the end here, right?
Yeah.
I think on a closing note, sealing everything up, I think the number one thing, and I might get a little too intense here, but who cares? No, people really need to experience and learn. And I can't say how far back I feel I am. And I criticize myself, but I've gone pretty far. We got to remember that. We can't always focus on where we aren't. We got to focus on where we are and where we can go. And I think experiencing and failing are like key catalysts or things that will motivate us. Complacency, doing nothing out of the norm will breed complacency or make you feel like being comfortable is what you need. And so, yeah, what you're doing is not a comfortable thing. It's a chance. It's a risk. You know, what I'm doing, going to New York, that's not easy. It's a risk. I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm probably going to be living out of people's places for a month or two. It's fine. I'll try my best to make that happen or figure it out. Yeah, so, you know, like what you're doing is a risk. What I'm doing is a risk. You've got somebody support you. You got to learn from your mistakes. You can't give up. This is all like life lesson stuff. And the people we were talking about who failed, solving those
Yeah.
problems. Yeah, it's a really good thing.
Dude, you know what? Let me reach out to my cousin, and the reason I say that is because he's often at dance studios or music studios, and if he knows somebody that needs, like, I don't know, any kind of
I'd
pianist,
love to jam with people as well. You know,
and there you go.
definitely.
You know what I mean? Some people need people like that at those studios.
Yeah.
Just somebody who's there who can throw down. And you've
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
got that talent, dude. I've heard you play some classical stuff and some new school stuff. I mean, you got a good range on you, man.
Yeah, I got a ways to go, but cheers, man. I'll take that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Taking a stride, man, and make it happen, dude. But
Oh, yeah.
hey, brother, that was a good conversation on perception. That's exactly what these things are supposed to be about. Getting out of the way of what you thought and thinking what you need to start thinking. And
Yeah, exactly.
I think to add to your point of failure and resolve, realize that not everyone's path is your path. You know, You're beating yourself up a little bit because you're still living at home, stuff like that, dude. Not everybody's path is ours. You know what I mean? And what was good for us, for other people may not be your path, and you're on yours. You know what I mean? So just make yours the best, and keep at it, brother. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think just
There it is,
there,
the
there it
city.
is.
There it is, baby. I knew it wouldn't fail me.
Every
What
day.
part of the city are you in?
Right now I'm in Queens. No, no, no. Yeah, I'm in Queens. What is wrong with
What
me?
part of
Long
Queens are you in?
Island City. Long Island City.
Oh, okay. Long Island
Yeah,
City, Queens. Come on, brother.
yeah. I'm in Long Island City. I'm probably gonna head to Manhattan soon. But what was I saying, man? I feel like an idiot. I was gonna say
No, no
something
worries.
that happens like 9 million, whatever, and I let that stuff
Yeah,
go now. I used to like drive myself nuts. I was like, what was I saying? What was I saying? I used to do that, but now I'm like, all right, I'll figure it out eventually. It'll be all
yeah.
right.
The city
It'll come.
sirens, they go off all the time.
Yeah, it got me.
It's
It
just
got me, man. It got me. But
what's funny is that's been replaced here by the fruit vendors. Every morning, every morning the trucks come by. The lady comes by in the morning. She's got breakfast in her car. She's got scrambled eggs, fried eggs, all
oh
kinds of
yeah,
stuff,
oh
toast,
yeah.
all kinds of shit. And then the guy comes by about maybe 25 minutes later. He's got all the vegetables you need. He's got all the fruits you need. He's got bread. He's got all kinds of shit. He's got garlic, onions, green
Mm,
pepper. He's got everything
mm.
you need to make dinner in his truck. And it's fucking awesome, man. And not that I don't miss the sirens and stuff like that, and the chaotic noise. But yeah, I really kind of don't miss it. When I encounter it again, it'll be just fine. But I'm good where I'm at. So it's yeah, I think we'll end it on that note, man. People,
Yeah.
if you're not happy with where you're at, man, it's only two ways to go about it: change what you're doing, or change your attitude about it. All right, take
Or
those good steps.
or
Yep.
take a vacation, and you never know what you might find. Take them
Boom.
often. Take a
That's a
random trip.
third. That I'm going to add that one into the list now. There's three things you can do. All right, change what you're doing, change how you're thinking about it, or take a vacation, take a break, unplug.
Yeah.
Definitely don't take your phone with you on
See,
vacation.
my
Leave that shit
plan.
at home.
Well, I might want to take pictures. So you got me there. But but I'm really really feeling good about here. And you know what? I'm gonna want to go other places. So I know I'm not that complacent yet. I'll be fine.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
this
yeah.
might just be my home, and then everywhere else will be where I go. You know?
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Don't get stagnant. That's it.
yeah. Exactly.
Keep moving. All right, my brother. I will see
All
you
right,
again.
all right.
Everyone, be well. We will be back hopefully either tomorrow or sometime later on this week. Be well.